Billy Carson
was called a prophet. Dum 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 dum.
Is Jesus part alien?
I believe so.
Dum 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 dum.
When I turned around, there were these two beings right there. Yeah. And, whew. Man, hold on.
Whoa.
Sorry.
No.
What do you have, big freak? What's up, man?
Dum 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 dum.
I basically lost my whole family over this.
Dum 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 dum.
All right, guys, welcome to the channel, America's Reality 360. We're back, and we got a good one today. All right, I really hope you hang in there. It's going to be a longer clip than I really want to play, but trust me, it's worth it. I also have a little update. You may know the original story by now, but the update came today, and I'm going to drop that in the end of the video. So today's topic is going to be this guy, Billy Carson. All right, you may have heard of him. He's a scholar, a very well-educated man, great vocabulary. He's done tons of research. He's traveled all over the world. He's very accredited. All right, I don't want anyone to mistake what I'm saying here today. I'm not trying to say this guy's dumb, okay? I think he's misled. The problem with someone like Billy Carson is he's been going all over the YouTubes, on Joe Rogan, Flagrant podcast, these really big podcasts, and he's been spewing this nonsense about like Jesus is an alien and he was making out with Mary and, you know, Planet Nibiru, aliens came from Jargon 7 and had sex with the monkeys and that's how we got here. All kinds of crazy stuff, all right? This clip, though, finally, we got this guy, the linguistic West. He's gonna dismantle Billy's entire worldview. And I think it's fabulous because I don't like what this guy's been saying. And we need to challenge it, and we need someone intelligent to challenge it. Someone who knows what they're doing. He's a linguistic. This guy is also very intelligent. This is his expertise. Language. He studies all the ancient languages, all the ancient manuscripts, and he's going to go into it. And we're going to check it out. Let's jump into it right here. I don't want to keep going. I don't want to weave too much. But yeah, let's just play the clip right now. Check it out. Oh yeah, real quick, just out of respect, I do want to clarify. We have Billy Carson here, and he's debating Wesley Huff, and I got this video from John Clash's YouTube channel, and I'll try to leave a link in the description for all of them. All right, here we go. Roll it.
I really appreciate the fact that you seem to have investigated to a certain degree some of these facts. Do you mind if I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
When you say the Sinai Bible, what are you referring to specifically?
It's the biblical text that was written. It made it into you can actually look it up on Amazon. It's a Bible called, I have a version at home. It's called the Sinai Bible, right, from Mount Sinai. I'm assuming that's the mountain that they're referencing there. But they put together their own version of the biblical text prior to the King James Version being put out.
Sure. So when you refer to the Sinai Bible, would you be referring to Codex Sinaiticus, like the codex that comes? Okay, that's why I was trying to get some clarification, because so you can actually go and see Codex Sinaiticus is at the British Library, so you can go and see it. It's on display, and the British Library has actually digitized the entire manuscript. So I work with manuscripts in my linguistic work. I'm an expert on early Christian scribal culture, and particularly in Greek and Coptic manuscripts. I actually have a facsimile. So I have a photocopy that was done by the British Library of Codex Sinaiticus that I work with in my office. So I have it here. And the only reason I asked for clarification is because I want to make sure that what I'm addressing is actually what you mean.
Gotcha.
And not addressing something else. Because the Codex Sinaiticus in particular is just a Greek, it's a 4th century Greek manuscript. Mm-hmm. It comes from approximately between 325 and 350 AD. And its text of the Gospels reads almost identical to the modern Greek text that we develop translations from. So my curiosity is just simply in kind of exploring, when you say that it denies the crucifixion or that the crucifixion isn't there, I mean, I can go on right now, Codex Sinaiticus, and I can look up the end of, say, Matthew 27, where it has Jesus being crucified. Yeah. And that's in Codex Sinaiticus, or the John 19, or any of the other ones. So I think my confusion is that it doesn't read any differently. So actually, are you able to pull up a website with the viewers or listeners or whatever
I'm
be able
looking
to see
for it
that?
right now to make sure I have the right the version that I'm looking at.
While he's pulling that up too.
So I'll just jump in real quick while Billy's looking for that. And the guy I'm covering up, his name's Mark. He's friends with Billy, and his friend knew Wes. That's how they got together. It was like a last minute thing. Mark kind of moderated this, but he wasn't really good at it. God bless him. He's like a new Christian, great guy, seemed like a really good guy. But, he just kept going on. And I know I go on and on, but this kid just kept interrupting himself. It's like he only speaks in broken sentences. He couldn't follow through on a complete thought. So it was really kind of irritating. But hey, it was a great thing that this happened. And what I wanted to say was, you see how Wes debunked Billy right away with the Sinai Bible. It's known to scholars and experts to be non-legitimate, to be basing things on and reciting it as fact. And you're going to see what Billy does now. He's going to try to change it. He's going to try to pivot and act like, oh, that's not what I was talking about. But just wait. I won't spoil it too much. And you're also going to see what happens. This plot thickens after this debate. This isn't the whole thing. But anyway, roll it.
Where was that piece
I found
discovered?
the text where I was referencing. Actually, I was misquoted. I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas.
All right, I'm sorry to stop it again so soon, but we just have to give Wesley credit here, man. I mean, this guy is on point, right? Like, he's so well versed in this stuff. He doesn't just say, oh, we know the Gospel of Barnabas isn't legitimate. He's quoting chapter and verse, man. He's pulling the books off his shelf. He knows exactly what two languages the Gospel of Barnabas was written in. And it's going to expose Billy and his very shallow research when he goes around telling everyone, I'm the authority on this. I mean, he does tours in Egypt and stuff, and he tells people online that, I forget exactly what he says, but he's like, oh, I'm the, no BS guy or whatever. Like, oh, he says, I'm the forbidden speaker. I say what's forbidden. No, sorry, Billy. Actually, quoting the Bible is becoming more and more forbidden these days. Not your little alien talk. Everybody's talking alien talk now. But, Wesley, man, Billy was not expecting this. So it's great that we got someone like Wesley to finally talk to Billy online, and you're going to see how Billy reacts to that, because he was not expecting this, and that becomes very apparent very soon. Roll it.
Okay, yeah, well, so that's good. So let's deal with that too, because I've actually worked with, there are two manuscripts of the Gospel of Barnabas. The Gospel of Barnabas is a really interesting document because it is a known forgery. And so that's why I think it's important to get to these sources. So at the very start of the Gospel of Barnabas, which we only have two copies of, one is in Italian and one is in Spanish, we see right off the bat that the Gospel of Barnabas, not to be confused with either the Epistle of Barnabas or the Acts of Barnabas, which are two apocryphal documents from the 2nd century, but the Gospel of Barnabas in particular, we know it's a forgery because it does things like, in chapter 92, it says that Jesus spent 40 days on Mount Sinai, and then he came to the Jordan River and he walked to Jerusalem. But Mount Sinai is more than a week's journey away from Jerusalem, and neither Mount Sinai nor Jerusalem are close to the Jordan River. So never mind there not being a route from the Jordan River to around Mount Sinai or going to Jerusalem. But there are internal problems with the Gospel of Barnabas, which indicate that it shows no actual indication of evidence of coming from or even having knowledge of first century Jewish understanding. It actually says Jesus is the Christ, but not the Messiah, which indicates that whoever the author is, he didn't know that those were the same words. And I think a bigger problem is that the Gospel of Barnabas actually paraphrases Dante's Inferno, which was written in 1314. So there's a lot of internal evidences that disqualify the Gospel of Barnabas, never mind the fact that we don't have any evidence of it prior to the 14th century, and none in any other language other than Middle Age Italian and Spanish. but the internal content of the Gospel of Barnabas disqualifies it from being ancient. And then the fact that it's doing things like paraphrasing Dante, or it also refers to a rule of the time of Jubilee, which was changed in the Middle Ages from what it was in the biblical year of Jubilee. And it goes with the Middle Ages concept, not the ancient concept. So I think what I'm getting at is, so I'm a historian,
Yep.
and I deal with sources. So when I'm looking at sources, I want to make sure that I have a methodology by which I approach any type of source. So if there is something that denies the crucifixion, I want to make sure that I'm analyzing it and that the methodology by which I analyze it actually reveals that the content can be accurately tied to the event. So if we're talking about, say, Codex Sinaiticus, that's in the 4th century. Now that is, I would agree with you, Billy, our oldest copy of the Bible in the sense of cover to cover, Genesis to Revelation copy of the Bible.
Right.
The problem is that we have individual copies of all 4 Gospels going back hundreds of years before Codex Sinaiticus. So I have a facsimile behind me of P66. This is a late 2nd century copy of the Gospel of John. I work with this particular manuscript. I can just show the screen right here. This is an almost complete copy of the Gospel of John. And it
Is that the
has the
papyro by
crucifixion.
any chance? Or is
Yeah,
that a
so
word that I just
papyrus
made
is
up?
just the what it's made out of.
It's the
So
material it's on.
I got that from Chat GPT, by the way.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
guys. I'm just
I
trying to
can
sound
actually-
smart for a sec.
I have that papyrus at home.
Oh, that's
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
top,
so I'll show you this. So the documents you actually see on my bookshelf behind me are facsimile papyri that I've made.
Mhm.
So when I was in Egypt last summer, I went and I got made for me some papyrus sheets. And so I take these papyrus sheets, which are made from the papyrus plant. And then when I go and I look at actual manuscripts, so I was at the University of Philadelphia last summer, and I went and I saw a document called P1, which is a 3rd century fragment of the beginning of the Gospel of Matthew. And so what I did is I sat down with that original and I produced a facsimile. So I copied the text. First of all, I cut it out with an X-Acto knife in not the original 3rd century one on my papyrus. I cut out with an X-Acto knife this guy, and then I copied the text transcriptionally on the front and the back. So papyrus is just simply, it's what it's made out of.
Yeah.
And so there's categorizing systems, and the standard one is called the Gregory Allende categorizing system. And so sometimes you'll see when manuscripts are mentioned, they'll have a GA and then a number behind it. If it's made of papyrus, you simply abbreviate the word papyrus to P, and then you have the numbering system.
Mhm.
So P66, what I showed you earlier, that's this on the categorizing system. It's the 66th manuscript that was put into the system. It's from the Gospel of John. I also have, P46 and P47 on my shelf.
Yeah, so I just want to jump in real quick and kind of show the contrast, right? You see Wesley, he has the papyrus sheets. He goes to the ancient sites, and Billy goes too, but Wesley is X-Acto knifing and tracing and rewriting his own manuscript that looks like an exact replica. See, Billy to me seems like, you get this in Christianity too, so we'll be fair. Sometimes when you get new Christians, this happened to my dad. It happens to a lot of people. When you become a new Christian, you're on fire for the Lord, they say, and you're super excited and you're witnessing to everyone, but you don't really know what you're talking about yet. And a lot of elderly Christians who have been involved in Christianity for a long time, they really recommend against doing that. You shouldn't be trying to preach the gospel if you're not educated and well versed on it. And I feel like Billy, he has found this new thing. And it's not that new, but I mean, he's the one guy. I mean, you hear other people mentioning some of this stuff. He's the guy that is saying this is the answer. He's taken all these things, the Bhagavad Gita, the Barnabas, the Mount Sinai Bible, the Jubilee, Book of Enoch, Gilgamesh, right? The Quran. He takes all these books and he puts them all together and says he has his story. He tells the whole story on Joe Rogan and these other podcasts about these alien races that came and enslaved us for 250,000 years, and we were digging gold and, you know, crazy stuff like that. And like you said, you've probably heard bits and pieces from other people, but Billy is the authority from his words that has this theory that he states it as fact. You know, he doesn't say... he does sometimes, but Wesley constantly, it's we know this, we know that, and this is why. And these are the tests we did to prove it. And this is how we know it's real and fact. And Billy, he doesn't know that stuff. He just says it like it's that. He says, oh, this is what happened. These aliens, they came here, they did this, and he speaks in definites. He speaks in absolutes. And I think he's just very excited because he's like, oh, it's been right here in front of us the whole time. And I'm the guy who put it all together. So he's very excited to go out and share it with people. And I can understand that as a man of faith. I get that. You know, you do want to share your beliefs when you think you got it right. You're like, this is the answer. But as you see, Wesley is just picking it apart, man, and just totally dismantling this guy's worldview. And you're going to see, I know I keep saying it, and we're going to get to it very soon. You're going to see what happens and why we know. I wouldn't have made this video if Billy didn't react the way he did, because that tells me 100% this guy is a grifter. He's a grifter. And it's scary because he almost had me. I saw him on the Flagrant podcast when he went on there, and I was like, he was like reeling me in. I'm like, whoa, man, like, do I need to start rethinking things? Do I need to start looking into stuff? Like, he's very convincing, and that's very scary because he's very wrong. So, you know, that's why I'm so happy. And Billy tried to stop this video from getting released. This was recorded weeks ago, but Billy was protesting the release of it. It finally got released yesterday. And so now we get to see it. But Billy did not want us to see this. He did not want this to get out, and he was threatening people. We'll get to that very shortly. Roll it.
Which includes all four Gospels and Acts from the 2nd and 3rd centuries. So the only hesitation I have with what you said, Billy, is that we have single copies of the Gospels that can be dated to the 2nd century that all do have the crucifixion. And so if we're relying on something like the Gospel of Barnabas, which is not just like, it's not that there's debate about it, it's that it's a known forgery. I mean, no one's referring to the Gospel of Barnabas as anything other than...
If you say it's a known forgery, yes, but I'm going to go with that. Let's talk about the Old Testament a little bit and leading up into the New Testament.
Well, hold on, because do you mind if I address the Gospel of Jesus?
All right, this is gonna be my last time jumping in on the debate. It's almost done. It was a 2-hour debate, but we're only gonna show a little bit of it, and it's almost done. And then we're gonna show the unraveling of Billy in the aftermath, and that's gonna be quick. But I wanted to stop it just to show you. Look how easily Billy just gives up his entire argument that he's been going around the world telling everyone is absolute fact. And Christians are crazy to believe the Bible. And I mean, you know, Billy, he's a smart grifter. He knows he needs the views. He doesn't want to make everyone mad. So he'll say, oh, I believe in God. And maybe he does, but he doesn't mean the God of the Bible. He mocks Jesus. He mocks Christians. He mocks the God of the Bible. But as soon as Wesley debunks everything he says, he goes, oh, well, if you say so, bud, I'll believe you. What? Dude, your entire life, this is your life's work. Like, this is all you do is go around talking about this. And he talks about a lot, and he does end up getting frustrated later. You won't see that part, but he's like, oh, you know, he's mad that he got picked apart and he didn't get to talk about all this other nonsense. But I think he's probably lucky that they didn't, because Wesley would have devoured him on that stuff too. But I just wanted to point out, can you really trust a guy like that? That he sits there and tells you this is the absolute truth. For years, he's going around doing the podcast run and traveling all over the world and writing books and doing shows. And then he goes, oh, you say I'm wrong about everything? I guess you're right then. Dude, tell me your faith in your own beliefs is shallow without saying it. Come on. I mean, there's no way. Like, wouldn't you need to see more or at least look into it? He just goes, no. But I also think it's he just wants to get off the topic, right? And you see, he tried to change the topic, but Billy's gonna pin him down here on this whole Jesus making out with Mary stuff, because how outrageous is that, and how disrespectful to go around and say stuff like that. Like, offer it up as a hypothesis. Sure, Billy states these things as facts. All right, bear with me. We're almost done.
The Gospel of Jesus' wife doesn't actually mention. So oftentimes what happens is that the text of the Gospel of Jesus' wife is kind of paralleled with the Gospel of Philip, which mentions that that Jesus would kiss Mary Magdalene on the mouth. And so those are kind of used in parallel to kind of for this argument that Jesus was married. So the Gospel of Jesus' wife is in the Harvard Library. However, the reason we know it's also not legitimate is because even though the manuscript, the papyrus that it's on, was carbon dated to the 4th century, the text was actually copied from a PDF version of the Gospel of Thomas known as Grandin's Interlinear. And there was a mistake in the Coptic text of Grandin's Interlinear that was copied into the Gospel of Jesus' wife. So we know that this is not a legitimate document, even though the papyrus is ancient, and this happens a lot with forgeries. I have a couple of friends who have actually worked on projects that have revealed forgeries within Dead Sea Scroll manuscripts and within other ancient Christian papyri. But the reason why we know the Gospel of Jesus' wife, and that Karen King, who kind of vouched for it and she lost a lot of credibility, unfortunately, for her, and she's admitted that it's a fake as well, was because we can tie it directly to not copying from an ancient text, but actually copying from an online version of the Gospel of Thomas in a PDF form. And the mistake on that PDF form was copied into the text that was borrowed in the phraseology of Jesus' wife. So I just point that out is, once again, with our sourcing, I think we need to make sure that we're going towards not just early sources, but actually credible sources. And unfortunately, neither the Gospel of Barnabas nor the Gospel of Jesus' wife are credible sources in terms of actually, and agreed upon by not just the vast majority of scholarship, but I don't know anybody in the field of papyrology, paleography, historiography, who actually refers to these documents as being legitimate.
All right, so that's going to wrap up that section. But as you see, right, Billy doesn't really do a deep dive on his research, obviously. This story he's referencing about Jesus' wife was copied from a PDF file. That is a digital file on your computer. So and like he said, even the lady who came out with that theory at first, she's admitted it's wrong. So how much has Billy really looked into this stuff? All the scholars in this field know it's wrong. The linguist here knows it's wrong. He's a historian too, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. It seems like Billy just read these things and said, wow, this is the answer, man. I know it is. And I saw those aliens in my living room that time, and I lost my family because I'm not going to give up my beliefs until one guy tells me I'm wrong. Then I'll just say, all right, I guess I'm wrong. But if you watch the debate, I encourage you to go watch the entire thing. It's 2 hours, but it's really good. It is out now. It's available to get it. And Billy starts getting impatient. He starts getting mad. Oh, you only talked about those couple things. It's like, Billy, every single thing you said, he completely smoked you on it, dude. That's what that just was. He got smoked. And he knows he got smoked. We're going to get in that in literally 30 seconds. But I just wanted to point that out. You see, this is a man who doesn't even believe in his own arguments. That's why he doesn't do deep dives. He doesn't want to get proven wrong. He reads what he likes and he takes that and he runs with it. That's okay in a degree. What's not okay, if you keep it to yourself, it's okay. When you start going out and preaching it as if it's gospel, that's when it's not really okay, man. You got to know what you're talking about if you're going to share it with millions of people. And especially when you're talking about faith and spirituality. This is real. We all have a soul. God's real, okay? Billy doesn't have a clue. He's very intelligent in his own way. I'm intelligent in my own way, you know? I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying the guy's dumb. He's not dumb, but he's lost, and he's misleading other people right off the cliff. He almost got me for a second. I mean, you know, he was compelling. He's very compelling, and that's not good because he's preaching a twisted, manipulated message based on a bunch of false, fake documents backed up by no one except Billy Carson. So now we're going to show you Billy's reaction. The rest of the debate, that was the best part. That's why I wanted to show you that. But Billy left this debate and decided he didn't want it to get released. He goes, oh man, I got smoked. I'm never going to be able to do these tours anymore, these podcasts anymore. My entire career, dude, it's blown up. And I'd rather just keep up the grift and keep up the lies and manipulations. Even though I've already conceded my argument, I still want to go around and make money convincing everyone that it's true. So Billy decides that he doesn't want this to get released, and he shows up at his friend Mark's house. And I really do apologize for covering Mark up. You know, I'll just be honest with you. I'm always honest. I hope you know that. I just didn't know where to put my face. There wasn't a good spot for it. I just want to get this video out, so I just plopped it right there. I'm sorry, Mark. He's a good guy, but he did kind of, you know, he was very annoying during the thing. But he's my brother in Christ. I love the guy. I'm sorry I did it this way. I'll try to do better next time. What I want to say, though, is Billy showed up at Mark's house, his friend that they go on family vacations together, they were saying earlier, shows up at his house at 2:30 in the morning. Mark's got wife and kids. Billy shows up on his doorstep, 2:30 a.m., ring doorbell. Check this out.
And you didn't like that you got exposed. And because you got exposed for knowing nothing about Christianity, you freaked out. You freaked out so much that you were knocking at my client's door at 2:30 a.m. in the morning.
Now I got to handle that situation.
With legal papers, acting like you have the power to enforce some type of you got served. You guys, this is the type of person Billy is. Like, he does have a brain injury, so maybe there is something like literally wrong with him. I don't know. But this is like crazy behavior. My client has kids. He has a family. You got this guy walking up at his house at 2:30 in the morning because of a debate that he posted.
That's crazy. You know what that also means?
Anton said it.
It means he never went to bed, or he got up at like 1:30 to like get ready for the.
Yeah, so that's crazy. Again, Billy shows up 2:30 in the morning, and he has legal papers in his hand. Newsflash, if you go on someone's YouTube channel and do a debate willingly, it's their content now. I don't even think Wesley had a copy of it, because you can see right here on his channel, I debated Billy Carson, but he doesn't want you to hear it. That was from a month ago. So this debate was actually over a month ago, and Billy's been fighting it this whole time. It just got released yesterday, I believe, the full thing. And as you see, Billy was freaking out all night, goes to the house because he knows he sees his life crumbling in front of him. And I don't like that. I don't want to rejoice in that. But I mean, dude, you're coming after Christianity, man. You're coming after me. I defend Christianity. I know Christ is king. Amen. Now, we're going to wrap it up with this. The latest development, this just dropped 10 hours ago on Wesley Huff's channel. Billy Carson is suing me. Billy's suing Wesley. So let's check this out. It's only a minute, and we'll wrap it up. And another thing I wanted to mention too, Billy is really into the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, okay? And I just want to touch on it for a quick second because that's been going around. That's a big thing, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And if you go on Wesley Huff's channel, he will tell you about how even that, it's all debunked. Just like that Book of Enoch, everybody's into that Book of Enoch. I just learned the Book of Enoch wasn't written by Enoch. And it's compiled of a bunch of different books from a bunch of different people. And there's like 2 different Enochs. So people don't know what they're talking about. They see this stuff on YouTube, they hear all these theories, and it sounds all cool, and it's aliens, and that's the thing now. But don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Believe in the book that everyone knew to be true since the beginning of time until about 5 minutes ago. Anyway, let's check this out, and then we're done.
Billy Carson is attempting to sue me. For those of you who don't know, I was invited to interact with Billy on a podcast that he agreed to come on. It was not his podcast, where he was notified beforehand who I was and what we'd be talking about. After that debate took place, Billy attempted to suppress the footage. That didn't really work. I've released clips from that conversation. Well, Billy does not want you to see those clips and has sent me a cease and desist letter. I was really hoping that this could be an opportunity for Billy to learn, to see the major errors that he's been repeating and turn this into a learning experience. I even offered to follow up with Billy in order to show him how and where he could find accurate and credible resources in order to make sure that what he was saying was verifiably correct going forward in the future, so he and his audience could learn and proceed knowledgeably. Billy did not agree. But unfortunately for Billy, agreeing to a debate, losing that debate, and feeling embarrassed about that loss does not constitute legitimate grounds to litigate. Billy, I will agree to all the terms and conditions of the cease and desist letter that you have sent me if you agree to run it back, sit down with me in person, and have another discussion. This is my formal response.
Yeah, so there you have it, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think Billy is onto something? Do you think he was right? Do you agree more with Wesley? I mean, we do have to give props to Wesley no matter what. This guy came prepared. He knows his stuff. But I also want to say, did you notice all those jump cuts in that 1 minute video we just watched? I mean, this guy is so well educated, well versed, well spoken. And he's got to do a jump cut every other word. Like, sometimes it was 1 or 2 words. Guys, I know I talk a lot. This video is way longer than I wanted it to be. But I really hope you appreciate that. I don't do jump cut. I just talk from my heart. It's the truth. This is just what I know and what I think and what I believe. And I hope you can appreciate that, because, wow, the jump cuts, man. I mean, geez. But anyway, let's not get into that. Let's not dog on Wesley here. He's a Chad, man. I like this guy. Let me know what you think about him down in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe. I'll be posting more content. I know I said that before. I've been going through a rough time. My dad died this year, so it's been tough. But I'm in it for the long haul now. This is what I've been wanting to do for 5 years. This is the time. I hope you're still with me. I hope you tune in tomorrow. I hope you like what you see. And yeah, check us out on America's Reality 360. I'll see you there. All right, guys. Later. Woo!
Wow. Inside the stone box, I found the magical seer stones. Under that, I found 4 gold plates written in strange writing.
Dum 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 dum.